I'm starting to read headlines because I feel like people don't read newspapers. They get 40% of our young people get their news from influencers
That's great.
on
Yeah,
social media.
no problems
So
there.
what?
Just kidding. Kidding.
What could happen? What could go
What could
wrong with that,
possibly
right?
go wrong?
Yeah. So I said I'm going to commit myself. Well, I do probably need to do that because I do feel a little unhinged with the way this country is right now. You can be in a place where you're like, am I the one that is not quite right? Like, is this normal? And then something I'm not seeing, you know, and I'm okay with that. But I'm committed to at least reading headlines and giving y'all some stories. So yesterday it was Le Monde, which there is a Le Monde story. No, not today. So today's AP, Associated Press, which is supposed to be the standard of like just basic who, what, when, where. It's the standard. It's what I actually use the AP style book in my classes because it is chock full of all kinds of information, but it also gives you the basics of how you write journalism. But latest headline, T-Rump, let me do this. T-Rump's latest tariff plan aims at multiple countries. This is the headline. Aims at multiple countries. What does it mean for the U.S.? So I'll read the first paragraph. T-Rump has identified that he sees as an all-purpose fix for what ails America, slap huge new tariffs on foreign goods entering the United States. On Monday, T-Rump sent shockwaves across the nation's northern and southern borders, vowing sweeping new tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China as soon as he takes office as part of his effort to crack down on illegal immigration and drugs. The last part is funny. I just saw his son reach in his pocket for some substance that he then wiped his teeth with, which looked like cocaine, allegedly. Anyway, in a pair of posts on his failing social media platform, he talked about the large influx of illegal migrants, even though the southern borders apprehensions have been hovering near a 4-year low. We've had a 4-year low of influxes of people coming into this country. What happened over the last 4 years? Oh, we had another president that actually did control the border, and I'm going to say less about that. And so he said he's going to impose a 25% tax on all products entering the country from Canada, Mexico, and an additional 10% on goods coming from China. And that's one of his executive orders. And he said, until such time as drugs, in particular fentanyl, and all illegal aliens stop the invasion of our country, the tariffs will remain. The next headline I'm going to say from Reuters, T-Rump says China is attacking the U.S. with fentanyl. Really? And this is part of the. Go ahead. You know something about this?
There's a little bit. There's a report that actually did come out from I can't believe it's the State Department or some other government agency, but the chemicals that are used to create fentanyl are being sold to cartels in Mexico, and then the fentanyl is coming into America that way.
Okay.
So there is a little bit of truth there, and there is an argument that conservatives and some Democrats are making that China is doing this to destabilize the United States with the fentanyl issue.
So could we do that to them? So my question, you know fentanyl is bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
okay.
great in surgery for doctors.
Right, yeah, I mean, but doctors
got to use it.
I'm saying, birth, like,
yeah.
Okay, I'm saying something that there's a larger problem that we're not addressing, but I'm gonna move on because I guess it's just the fentanyl. It's not the people. It's not the addiction. It's not, us not handling the addiction. It's not.
Exactly. No, I mean, our entire season on the war on drugs and fraudsters is about the fact that we attack the supply side constantly and not the demand side, and not giving rehabilitation centers, putting money toward treatment centers, putting money toward, educating people, help economic opportunity for people, just people that have substance use disorder need help. They don't need the government to go after the cartels. And by the way, T-Rump has said that he's going to go after the cartels, which is going to be an absolute catastrophe. It will be the single worst decision he will have ever made in any of the presidencies that he is now going to occupy. Watch.
Why? Why do you think that?
Because the cartels have an entire global economy behind them, and the United States does not. Everyone loves drugs. No one other than 72 million people like Trump. Okay, so the entire
I feel like the people that voted for Trump were on drugs. I feel like you're messing with the supply chain of the very people that put you in the office. I don't. This feels like a Drake movement to me. This feels like self-destructive. I feel like you're going to hurt the very cause that you come into office to bolster. This is weird. This is very
the tariffs thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. The tariffs.
The tariffs thing I think is super interesting because I've been trying to rack my brain about this and I've been doing some research on it because I don't understand how the tariffs argument holds water. And I just recently heard an interview with Orrin Cass. He's a conservative economist that is actually in the ear of J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel, all the guys in Trump's inner economic circle. And they listen to this guy. And everyone should go out and actually listen to what this guy, I think it was Foreign Policy, did a interview with him. Really listen to this guy. He sounds like a leftist. His whole argument is actually pro-worker. And the framing that he uses is that the tariffs will drive domestic production, that these companies will not ship anymore, that they will build manufacturing within America, and that consumers will then go to manufacturing within America. The problem that he also even admits is that initially it will be inflationary. It will raise prices on everything. So this whole thing hinges on a gamble that manufacturing will magically come to America when Trump applies these tariffs to all of these countries, which is what blows my mind. But what's more important here is that conservatives have now taken over the working class argument. The Democrats have lost it completely. They do not talk about it properly. The conservatives have won this area, and it was terrifying to me to listen to it.
But it should never have been a partisan issue, right? And I've been saying for the last 20 years that we don't make anything. Even our underwear are made someplace else. And it's a problem because that makes you dependent on somebody else, right? And if the somebody else you're dependent on doesn't like you, at some point, they can put a little spice in your underwear and ship it over. Remember all of the cribs that had a little lead in it? Remember the little formula that we were getting? I mean, like you can't really trust somebody. My mother used to get these ginger candies, and I was like, this is from Iraq. From the dollar store. I was like, get these candies. They were so delicious. And she was like, the dollar store. I'm like, made in Iraq. I said, what could go wrong here, ma'am? Ma'am. I just ate Iraqi candy. I don't know where it came from. This is scary. It's very scary. But the point I'm making is, yes, I think so I think there's an opportunity because we don't make anything. I've been asking this question. What do you need in your community? Everybody lives somewhere. Can you fill the need? We're going to need factories. We're going to need to have things like at a large scale. This is the time to really come together and create the very thing that is needed here to be valuable. And they're going to have to, but I feel like they've already done this. They wouldn't do the tariffs if they didn't already have a game plan